So it's early November 2002, and there I was, a recently mobilized Army National Guard captain, standing at the gate of Camp Buka, staring out over the village of Bamiyan, Afghanistan. Behind me, I've got a backpack full of cash. I mean bricks, a newly minted 20s. A squad of civil affairs soldiers and a special forces A-team. My mission was to win hearts and minds, rebuild the village of Bamiyan using my backpack full of cash. Now understand, I'm a little bit on edge. We're all new in country, and this area, only a few short months ago, was a full-on combat zone. But we shouldered our packs, marched out the gate, and down the dusty main street to meet with the village elders and establish our strategy. They asked us to clear the well, to rebuild the boys' school, restore their mosque and civic center, and could we build them a school just for the girls? So I'm thinking easy day, nothing here I can't do with a couple bricks of cash. And I turned the team around and we headed back to base to make our plans. Now understand, we're pretty frightening in our American Army business casual attire. I've got an M4 rifle. I've got an M9 pistol, full body armor, Kevlar helmet, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and really, really cool Oakley shades. I noticed as I walked through the village that the villagers are all cringing back into their doorways. We happened upon a little girl. She stopped us cold in our tracks. She was maybe 3 years old, about this tall, bare feet, dressed in a hand-me-down little dress. But what really stopped me cold was the 2-gallon olive oil tin strapped to her back like a pack. Was that a bomb? Turns out the answer was no. We found it half full of donkey manure. This little girl had a job. Now understand, at 3 years old, my kid's job was to play, sing Barney songs, and annoy their siblings. This little girl's job was to walk down this dusty street, picking up donkey manure, to take home to be dried and used by her family as fuel to heat the house. She stared up at me, wide-eyed and frightened by all the scary soldiers. And I think instinct just took over. I did the dad thing. I reached into my pocket and I pulled out a goodie. Turned out to be a lifesaver. Her eyes lit up. She smiled. She snatched it out of my hand and popped it in her mouth, ran off down the dusty street giggling. That turned out to be a watershed event for us. Now, on each one of our daily visits, treks out the gate, I noticed that there seemed to be more and more kids, and a few more smiles, and more soldiers handing out candy. One night at the team house, we started to realize that we had a problem. We were running out of candy. And so the satellite phone calls home began. A few weeks later, our normal resupply helicopter came thundering up the valley. Unlike normal, dangling from the belly of this giant CH-47 helicopter was a net. And in this net, as it got closer, I noticed that it was chock full of multicolored soccer balls, courtesy of Nike, and the product of one soldier's telephone call home. Inside this bird, wedged between our normal food and water and ammunition, were boxes, dozens and dozens of boxes. They were all chock full of candy, cookies, warm clothes, and toys for the children of Bamiyan, all sent by our loving family and friends. One enterprising church group even sent us hundreds of ready-made kite kits, complete with string, and these things were fashioned out of Walmart bags. Now you can imagine that the flavor of our journeys out the gate were really different. Imagine, if you will, these giant, very heavily armed U.S. Army soldiers smiling, handing out candy, playing soccer, and assembling kites. There were lots more smiles, not only amongst the kids, but we noticed smiles amongst their families. By March, we were finished, and I was at the dedication ceremony for our final project, the girls' school. I noticed my interpreter off in the corner, talking to a little boy. Back at camp, my interpreter came to me and said, I was just informed that they're planning an attack tonight to put us back in our place. That little tiny scrap of information allowed us to roll up these bad boys without even firing a shot. But more importantly to me, it proved that I was mission complete. We really had won at least a few hearts and minds. The 2003 Bamiyan Project was the most successful provisional reconstruction team in country at the time. When asked why, I told my commanding general, "Sir, I think it's because we connected. One little tiny piece of candy taught us how to communicate and then how to see each other as people." What I learned in 2003 was it's not always the big, high-profile things that lead to success. Sometimes it's the little things, the ones you least expect, that make all the difference. Thank you all for what you do.